everybody. Welcome back to the Between Sessions podcast. My name is Ebony Harris.
And I'm Eliza Bokeen. And we are two brown chicks changing the face of therapy on both sides of the couch. Yes.
Welcome. We are back today with Miss Jackie Strait of Winding Way Therapy. And we're going to be chatting with her about mental wellness, physical wellness, spiritual wellness, all the wellnesses, and how we incorporate that in our lives and in our self-care. So, Jackie, tell us a little bit about your practice and how you're working to change the mental health game for minority communities.
Yeah. So first, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to be on this podcast today. I am huge fans of yours.
Thank you.
Eboni and Eliza. I love the work that you guys are doing. Yeah, it's wonderful. So, like I said, I'm a fan. Yeah. So I am the co-founder of Winding Way Therapy, and we do counseling services, full service for adults, adolescents, and kids. And I work mainly with adults who do a really good job at taking care of everyone else. And they have a little bit more difficult selves, right? They're at work. They're able to do things with family and take care of family and friends. But when it comes to their own self-care and wellness, it's a little bit harder to do. So that's on the clinical side. And what I'm working on now is creating a program for women of color specifically to help them incorporate fitness and wellness overall into their day-to-day lives. But sometimes they run through hurdles or have difficulties trying to incorporate that, right, in terms of their own, what that looks like in their lives. So I'm trying to I'd like to be the hurdle jumper or the hurdle coach for them to help them figure out what they need to do to move forward with that.
Ooh,
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome.
When are you enrolling in this program?
I'm hoping to get it off the ground pretty soon. I'm pretty close to kind of getting some final touches and final stages done. But yeah, I'm so excited about it.
And is it going to be awesome. Like something you do online, virtually, meeting face to face? How is it going to work?
Yes. So my plan is to start online. And one of the things that I know is important for us is having a community, having a tribe. And so, online presence is important, but I'm hoping that over time we kind of branch out to face-to-face. I think a lot of times we miss that, right? We miss the face-to-face and the person-to-person contacts that we can't get virtually.
Yeah, that's important. I think we spend a lot of time online and it's wonderful being online and being able to have those. I'm a big fan of it. But you're right, as far as like connecting face to face and connecting in person does make a difference in like our wellness.
Yeah.
Right. That human connection is so necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's convenient, of course, right? And we can reach more people and we can see more people and talk to more people, connect virtually. But there is something about having a face-to-face meeting or face-to-face get-together with another sister I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Right. So I'm trying to remember if that was on our podcast, and Lucy, you can remind me. I feel like it was, with Kiana, the last episode when she was talking about how she's worked in the corporate world and she would talk to the men and the women leaders, and the men like would be so stressed out, but then they had a plan of like how they would handle that stress. I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to go play golf, I'm going to do those things. And she saw the struggle with women of not being able to do that. So I'm curious what you see, Jackie, as far as women and the blocks that are stopping them from being able to look after their own fitness and wellness. What are some of those things that are stopping them?
Yeah, I think what you just described is one of the main issues that we have, or the struggles that we have. I think a lot of time mindset, though, right? So we place everyone else's value, their self-care over our own.
Right.
We are people, women of color, we're loving, we're caring, we want to take care of so many people around us, but oftentimes that comes at the expense of our own self-care, right? And with that, it brings about guilt, right? We feel guilty if we're wanting to take time for ourselves. We believe that if we take time for ourselves, that we're taking time away from someone else, right? Something else that we could be doing. So our priorities are kind of shifted a little bit. I think that that's an issue. Yeah, guilt is a big part of us not taking the time to incorporate that. And then another issue is time, right? So that's another mindset shift or issue that we have is, oh, I don't have time. I mean, yeah, we're really, really busy, but what value do we place on taking care of ourselves first?
Right.
I think especially when you add to the mix being a mother, right? Like when you have children and you're kind of just,
for sure,
you know, instinctually thinking about and anticipating your children's needs and the time and balancing it. And then if you work outside the home and just all of those barriers, they just continue to pile up and pile up and pile up, which makes it so difficult to get past that guilt.
I think that sometimes we struggle.
Right. And that's...
Go ahead.
No, you can go.
Okay. I was just thinking like the struggle of taking care of ourselves and that guilt that comes with it. And just the understanding that, and we've said this several times, and I'm sure people may be tired of hearing it, but when you take care of yourself, it makes it better. It makes it easier for you to take care of others. Right. When you are putting yourself first and making sure that you are doing well and feeling well and all of that, then you can pour into others more easily than if you're like draining yourself for other people. And I also believe that if you, as you take care of yourself, you're modeling to other people how you want to be taken care of, and then also how they should take care of themselves.
Right. I think that's a wonderful way of looking at it, especially when we're talking about the message that we're sometimes sending to our children, right? Of course, it's important for us to take care of them. Of course, that comes naturally. And yet, what message are we sending when we're... I read this quote the other day, and it was a really powerful one. It stuck with me, and it said, and I'm probably going to butcher it right now, but it said, you don't have to light yourself on fire to keep other people warm, right? That's a big deal, right? We don't have to go and go and go at the expense of ourselves. Right. We have to figure out a way to kind of expand our thoughts, our beliefs, our attitudes, and our time to include wellness for ourselves.
Right. And I think in that process, it is difficult anytime you start some sort of new practice, right? And so this practice of taking care of yourself in a different way, I think it's important also for people to remember that anything new, it's going to have a kind of that learning curve and adjusting to this new way of life, but you're also reteaching people on what they can expect of you. And that's not always welcome.
Right.
You know, when people are used to you setting yourself on fire to keep them warm, you know, it's convenient for them. And so I think it's that support that you talked about is where that's so important.
Definitely.
I think another issue that comes up for women of color is, especially if we have started to make this mindset shift, right, is like, imagine if you say, okay, fine, fitness, yeah, let's do it. And you decide, okay, I'm going to sign up for this gym, or I'm going to sign up for this class. And you're a little bit anxious, but whatever, you work through it, right? You get to the gym, you get to your class, and you look around, and you're the only person that looks like you, right? Women of color are underrepresented in the fitness world. And so that can be lonely sometimes. That can be overwhelming sometimes. That can, you know, occasionally we also feel as though maybe we're not welcome in some of these spaces. So that's another, I think that's kind of of having that tribe and having that support. You know, that it's a challenge.
Right.
So how have you been able to manage it all, taking care of all these different areas of wellness, and what tips would you have for other people?
I have found that over the years, I've been using exercise and fitness as self-care for me for about 8 or 9 years now. And what I find is that I do my best work, I am my best self when I make self-care something that I take care of first thing in the morning, every day.
Okay.
So most days out of the week, I'm in the gym. When I started, I didn't like it. Right? It was too early in the morning.
Right.
My body had to do things that I didn't want it to do. It was not that fun, right? And I did it because you know, my doctor recommended me do it for long-term health. But what I found that over the years, fitness helps me with stress. It helps me with energy. It helps me with sleep. It helps me not murder my husband, right? It helps me do all of these things,
right?
that are harder, and take care of other people, right? Clinical work can be a lot of, it can take a lot of energy. Caretaking and helping other people can be draining if we're not careful about those things. So that's one thing that I make sure I do most days. If I'm not in the gym, I'm making sure that I spend a couple of minutes a day in meditation, right? Usually over a cup of coffee. 5 or 10 minutes. It's really not that long, but I think that helps center me, gives me a place to start, right? And it jumpstarts my day. Then I make my agenda for the day, personal, professional, business, and I get to work. And I think with that kind of strategy or that kind of balance, it really makes a difference. All that being said, sometimes I do that really, really well. And sometimes not so well, right? There are some days I'm like, girl, come on, right? And usually when those days occur, it's because I haven't taken care of myself first, right? It's because I'm trying to squeeze in one more activity or one more task or one more to do, and I'm keeping myself, or I'm putting myself out of balance in terms of what's important to me.
Well, and I appreciate that you say, because I think that you say sometimes it's difficult for you, because I think anytime that you're an expert in something or you're just really good at something, right? People mistakenly believe that you don't have the same challenges that others do. You know, just even being a therapist. Oh, so your relationships must be perfect because you're a therapist, right? So your wellness must be easy for you because you're a wellness professional expert, you know? And so I appreciate you saying, I still have my days, you know, where I'm struggling, and that ongoing reminder that we have to give ourselves, like, oh, straight off, come back, remember what anchors you.
Yeah. I definitely think there's something to be said about routine. Because even like I think about, and this is how I've been trying to incorporate more self-care, is kind of like you said anchoring, and I've heard the term of anchoring into something else, right? So right after I brush my teeth, I do this, right? And so you've already formed this habit of brushing your teeth, so now you've attached this other thing to it. But even with routines, like, yeah, wake up, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth. But some days I might lay in bed a little bit longer, so I'm not exactly adhering to that routine. And so it's okay if it doesn't look the same way every day. But sometimes you have those patterns and those routines that just, this is what I do when I wake up. This is what I do when I go to bed. And so how can you attach those new habits that you want to form to the ones that you already have? That might be a way to kind of incorporate some self-care. Like I know if right after I brush my teeth, I put on my workout clothes. Well, putting on workout clothes means I need to go to the gym or I need to do some type of exercise or something like that. So those are a couple ways that you can try to incorporate those things, and understanding that, like you said, some days you're not going to be able to do everything that you have intended, but to try to make it more of a routine where more days than not, you're making sure you incorporate those things.
Yeah. For sure.
So, yeah. What is one thing that everyone can do today to start incorporating some type of fitness or wellness into their lives?
That's a good question. So what I would say, so if you're ready to jump in today, here's what I would recommend. I recommend you find a goal that is realistic, find a goal that is attainable for you based on your individual needs, and you start there. Now, even though, you know, I consider myself to be a fitness fanatic, right? I love working out. It's not realistic for me to say on Saturday I'm going to run a marathon. I haven't trained for it, and I don't like to run. So that's not going to happen, right?
More importantly.
Yeah, that's just right. So if you're starting to incorporate fitness into your weekly or daily life, maybe you start small, right? Maybe you start with 10 minutes of a yoga pose, right? 10 minutes of stretching. Maybe you go on a walk and you take a friend with you. If you're, you know, so just starting with something that is achievable so that you can build that confidence. Okay, I did that. I did this today. That wasn't so bad. That was only 10 minutes. And then build from there. That would be my recommendation. Start with something that fits into your lifestyle and then grow
it. I think that requires so much, speaking personally for myself, right? I'm kind of one of those all or nothing people, but then we tend to then do nothing when we're not doing it all. And
right.
And I think just kind of our culture is this microwave, get it done, binge on something type of mentality, that just even getting used to the idea of a process and building on the process and learning to just do something and being okay with that.
Yeah. Definitely you want to be accepting of whatever time you have, and if this is all I can do, that's good enough. That's good that I'm doing something.
Right. Something is definitely better than nothing. And I think if we can, in our minds, start to restructure our health, right, and taking care of ourselves every day as hygiene, like when you get up and take a shower, like when you do when you go and brush your teeth, right? If you look at it as hygiene, then maybe it would be easier to incorporate it into kind of your daily routine. But I really don't think that it has to be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be an awful lot, right? But just starting off with something, you know, a mini session, if you will, right? 10 minutes or so, where you're taking care of yourself and your health, right? Put some respect on it. Put some respect on your health. It's important.
Right.
Yeah? That is a quotable. That's a t-shirt.
Put some respect on it.
So seriously, you know, it's important.
This is why I love doing these podcasts also, you know, because I feel like every time that we have somebody on here, I take a little nugget of information that I can then apply to my life as well. And when you said that, thinking of our fitness, just even our nutrition as a form of hygiene. Because sometimes, you feel dirty after you eat dirty.
Right.
Like, I feel dirty after that. So I love that. I love the idea of thinking of it as hygiene.
Mm-hmm. What
and I think the more practice that you get, the easier it becomes. I think. I mean, sometimes it's just hard, and we have to work through the difficulties that we sometimes have with motivation, right? Oh, I don't feel like going to the gym. Oh, I really don't feel like eating such and such or drinking all of this water. And sometimes we have to kind of push ourselves a little bit beyond that, right? Whereas, especially for the long term, our long-term health is important, and that long-term health is built on smaller days, right? Nuggets of making better choices, not perfect choices, but better ones.
Right.
I like that.
How do we, I feel like we always hear about like physical health or being physical helps like mental health, right? If you have depression or you're feeling depressed or whatever the case may be, go for a walk and things like that. How do you understand that physical health does, how is it a part of your mental health, and how does it improve your mental health?
There's a lot of research now in the field of psychology on just short bursts of workout and how that improves anxiety, how that informs anxiety, right? So when we're in the gym and our heart rates start to elevate, sometimes that can mimic anxiety symptoms. So it helps us normalize that experience of anxiety. Depression, fitness can help with depression too. It on a biochemical level, it can increase the natural endorphins that we have, the feel-good chemicals. So it can help with these behavioral changes that are important for us. If we're getting up and getting out and moving, any kind of movement can really help with depression symptoms or inertia, right? Feeling like we're stuck in a particular place. Getting our bodies moving can help with those kinds of things. It's a natural stress reliever. All of the things that I mentioned that help me can help, I think, in the mental health field too, right? More energy, more stress relief. It helps with sleep. But also the more significant, if you will, for lack of a better word, the most significant conditions, the depressions, anxieties, the other mood disorders, being able to move and get your body into it can help alleviate and release some of those symptoms.
Okay. So what is your favorite resource, book, podcast, whatever, regarding wellness?
There are a lot of podcasts and resources that I like, and I gravitate towards self-care types of podcasts, self-care types of books. I just finished this book a couple of weeks ago, Be Unapologetically You. Have you guys heard of that one? Adeline Bird. I thought that it was, it's a really good book on learning your value as women of color, right? How we can get to a deeper and better place in who we are and without apologies. I love the book. It was great. Another one of my favorite books, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. It's not geared specifically to women of color, but that is like a classic to me. In terms of podcasts, Redefine Enough is a podcast or in a website that's for women of color to help them know what's enough and their value again. That's something that's important to me too. Let's see, what else? of course, this podcast, of course, right? I think this is important. Mental health issues. Like I said, I love this one. And Soul Unexpected. I don't know if you've heard of that one too, but that's a little bit of a deeper, again, value, care, what's stopping us, a little bit of humor and comedy in there too. I just think it's important to have as much of that as possible.
Love that.
Those would be my picks.
Those are good. I wrote them all down so we can make sure to put them in the show notes. I was like, let me type while she's talking.
I know.
Those are good though. So what makes you a dope therapist?
Oh, what makes me a dope therapist?
Well, this is my favorite question. Everybody's always like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm a dope therapist. I'm going to own this one. I'm a dope therapist because I give people the space to be authentic. I give people the space to be real, to be imperfect, to be courageous. And I respect that. I'm a dope therapist because I know what it's like to be on both sides of the couch. And I know that it can be difficult to do and hard work to do. I also know that it can be a transformative experience, going through that pain, going through that fear. And I'm a dope therapist because I help my clients know that they are important and they are valued, not because of what they do, but because of their existence.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you kind of touched on this, but why is therapy dope?
Why is therapy? Oh my gosh, I could talk about this forever. I think therapy is dope because where else do you go to talk about yourself without worrying about someone judging you? It's a judgment-free zone. Without worry about, am I taking too much time? It's all your time, right? You get to explore your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your successes, your failures with a person who is your cheerleader, a person who wants to see you succeed. And you get to do that and then go on about your way and try some new behaviors and new ways of being. And then come back and adjust as needed. I think therapy, like I said, is transformational. That's what makes it dope.
Yes. I love that.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us for this show. We really appreciate it. Can you tell everyone where to find you and how can we sign up for the program now, or do we have to wait a little bit? What's going on with that?
We're ready to get our wellness together.
The waiting list. The waiting list is in progress. I'm going to have a waiting list, but you can find me on Winding Way Therapy. Send me a message. I respond to every single one of those. We also have a Facebook group, and I promise I'll try to be better with that one. Winding Way Therapy on Facebook as well. Send me a message if you want an appointment request. You can send that to me as well. So that's where you can find me.
And where are you located again?
I'm in Friendswood, so a little bit south of Houston, just a few miles south of Houston.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you. Thanks everybody for listening. Check us out at melaninandmentalhealth.com. Check out the directory. Jackie is on the directory.
Yes,
she's one of our dope therapists. Yes. And also follow us across social media at Melanin and Mental Health and Melanin Health on Twitter. Make sure you get, well, you can't see my shirt. I have my dope therapist shirt on, but you can't see it. But make sure you go check out the merch on melaninandmentalhealth.com. And I think that's it.
Well, we do have some stuff going on this weekend, right?
I'm like, what are we doing? Yes, if you have not signed up, talk about it, Elisa.
Yes, we are going to be on a panel for the Glittered in Goals event that is presented by froreal.com. It's, you know what? Let me get that right. Let me get the website correct. But yes, Glittered in Goals. That's going to be great. I'm going to be talking about just all these shifts that you can make in life, mindset shifts, relationship shifts. Ebony and I are going to be panelists there. And then I feel like we've had a lot going on and have more going on.
Yeah, for the past few weekends, we've had a lot of different speaking engagements.
You were
I think
on
the
radio
follow-up
yesterday.
Yeah, I was on the radio yesterday talking about mental health and minority communities, favorite topic.
We were at the Black Heritage Festival last week.
Yeah.
And then next month, we've got our next webinar coming up. Yes. And it is going to be hosted by me.
Yes,
I'm going to be helping clinicians on how to deal with when you're working with couples, you're working with relationships, why clients avoid sex and how you can address those issues and help them in their relationship. So got a lot of great stuff coming up.
Yeah, we'll make sure to put all of that in the show notes. And so we appreciate everybody for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.